This was a long journey and I only have one word for you. Congratulations. You did an awesome job. You followed along this entire course and you hopefully now have all the knowledge you need to work on your own Power BI projects. And more importantly, I also hope that you saw that this is an amazing tool and that it's a lot of fun to work with it. Now, I want to keep this module very short. There are only two things that I would like to talk about in this module. One thing is a quick summary of everything you learned in this course. Not a comprehensive summary though, just a core summary, just to remember some of the many things we learned throughout this course. And then I want to give you some tips on how to proceed after finishing this course now. Let's get started with what you learned. Well, we got started with Power BI Desktop, and there we had an extensive look at the query editor to prepare our data. We worked on rows, we worked on columns, we combined tables, we worked on different queries, we optimized performance, many things we did, all with the goal to have our prepared data set, and as part of that, we also learned more about data models. We had a look at the star schema here with our dim and fact tables, which allowed us to present and organize our data in a very efficient way. And more on that, we learned how to use relationships in this model to make sure that our different tables can communicate with each other. Besides that, we learned about the M language and DAX. M was the language used in the query editor. DAX is the language we used for our calculations in the actual data model later. In addition to that, we of course learned a lot about visuals and reports. So the reports which contain different pages with all our visuals. That's just a very rough summary of our knowledge in Power BI Desktop now, but all these topics should be clear now and you should be ready to dive into these if you want to. We then continued with Power BI Pro and mobile. The core idea here, of course, was to understand how we can publish data from Power BI Desktop to Power BI Pro, and we had a very close look at that. Besides that, we explored our workspace, so the default working environment every Pro user has. We learned how we can use this workspace, how datasets, reports, and dashboards work, and how we can even share data from this workspace with other people. In addition to that, we of course also learned about other workspaces, so workspaces with the goal of collaborating with other people. We created such workspaces, we invited other people, and you saw how we can use these workspaces to simultaneously work on your project with other people. We also learned how to use apps, of course. Apps allowed us to share information from our workspace with the actual end user. We saw how these apps work, how we can publish such apps, and how we can also specifically tailor what information should be included in such an app. Finally, talking about sharing, we of course also learned how to access our information from anywhere with the use of the Power BI mobile app. In addition to that, we had a look at many advanced features. I'll again just name some of these that were covered in this course. For example, we learned how to connect Power BI to different advanced data sources like SQL databases, JSON data, or REST APIs. We also learned how we can create custom visuals in the developers part. This was Mac's module, and Max thoroughly guided you through the basics of creating such custom visuals. A bit more of an advanced module. I still hope you enjoyed it because I think it's really awesome to see what a broad range of features Power BI actually has. Besides that, we learned about specific single features like column from examples or DAX Studio. As I said, I could name plenty of these. I'll just stop at this point because it should just be a quick summary about what you learned. But this is what you learned though. But how can you now continue? Well, first, repeat unclear concepts. I hope you don't have any unclear concepts at this point, but if you have these, make use of this course, go back to certain videos, repeat concepts, work along, and stay there until you really understand how something works. It's important to not only follow along the video, but to go back to these parts in case anything is still unclear. Also try to redo the project on your own. You don't have to do this, of course, but if you enjoyed the project, why don't you start again from scratch? You know what the core idea of the project was and what we finally achieved, but why don't you try it with your own approach? You can deviate a bit, you can try own things because the project data really offers you great ways to dive deeper into Power BI and to even try some more advanced features or new visuals or anything that you might want to explore. This brings me to the next point. create your own projects. The web is full of amazing data to discover, so why don't you make use of these? Download free data sources, play around, create own projects, analyze data, create awesome visuals, publish data to Power BI Pro, use the tools you have now and the tools you understand now, because the options are almost endless. So the important thing now is really to practice what you learned and to not stop at this point. Also dive into the official docs. The official docs, link is attached in the video description, of course. The official docs help you to clear up some unclear concepts. This is a very comprehensive course. It's a complete introduction in the end though. So we covered all core concepts, but we cannot cover every niche case here. Otherwise the course would have 100 hours and I guess neither myself nor you would enjoy this. Therefore, make sure of the official docs to dive into advanced concepts and therefore also to master these. And finally, stay up to date. I mentioned this in an earlier module. Take the resources I shared there, have a look at the official Power BI blog, keep your Power BI desktop version up to date. Have a look at the preview features because the world never stops and so does Power BI. Therefore, also try to make sure that you use the current knowledge that you have to stay up to date in this amazing world. And with that, it's now finally time to say thank you very much for following along in this course. It was amazing to have you as a student. I hope you enjoyed the course too. Yeah, and I hope that you will have a lot of fun with Power BI in your own projects. I wish you all the best. Hope to see you in other courses and bye now.